Okay, and hi everyone. Welcome back to your Philippine Politics and Governance. Again, this is Mr. Trip Anthony E. Ramos, and for this session, we'll be discussing about the states, nations, and globalization. So I know that the moment that your Araling Panlipunan teacher or your previous social science subjects teacher asks you to create an essay or to make an essay about a certain country, you are thinking of the synonymous words state and nation to a country. But let me ask you, do you know the difference between a state and nation? So you don't have to worry because for this session, we will be distinguishing one word from another. So let's go ahead and take a look into this topic. So first, it is imperative for us to know what is a nation. So first, let's discuss the word nation. If we're talking about nation and looking into the etymology of this word, definitely you will go back to the Latin word nasi, okay, which means born. So in this sense, if you're thinking or if you're referring to the word born, it will already give you an insight that this word would have a racial or ethnic meaning. Meaning, this word nation would definitely have a racial or an ethnic concept. Okay, again, if we're talking about nation, this is an ethnic concept. Next, nation would be called or would be referred to as a community of people linked by ties of blood and relationships, a common language and literature, and a common tradition and history. So definitely, just like what we were mentioning earlier, since we're talking about the ethnicity, of course, it is imperative for us to know the relationship of those person under nation. So just like what has been said, a nation would definitely be a community of people that is being linked by the ties of blood and relationships. You are looking into the relationship of those persons living as a nation. So definitely those persons living under one nation, they would share a common language and literature, a common tradition and history. So just like what we know, okay, so say for example in the Philippines, if a certain ethnicity would be called as a nation, definitely they would be called okay, they would have a common language and literature. Let me give you an example further. So specifically in the Ilocandia or the imagined community of the Ilocanos. So definitely they are thinking that they are part of the Ilocano nation. Why? Because they have the common language, they have the common literature, and even the traditions and histories that they were sharing. It is all common. Okay. So again, if you're talking about nation, this is the concept in which you are looking into the link of those persons living in a community in which you are looking to their ties of blood and relationships. Third, nation would be a large group of individuals who believe that they belong together because they share a common identity as a people. So definitely just like what we were mentioning earlier, so they are part of a nation simply because they share the common identity as a people. So this is also quite common for those indigenous peoples that we have here in the Philippines. So those Mangyans, definitely they can be referred to as a nation simply because they are identifying themselves as they possess the common identity as a people of being Mangyan. So definitely they belong to a nation. So again, if we're talking about nation class, I would want you to remember that this is an ethnic concept. This is a racial concept. So definitely you are looking into their language, literature, tradition, and even history. Okay? So you might ask, sir, what are the factors or what are the reasons why nation has been born? Or bakit nagkaroon ng concept na tinatawag nating nation? Okay? So let's go ahead and take a look into the two factors that have been enumerated. So the first one, there is a need for a group of people to have cohesion. So class, to give you an insight, the word cohesion is synonymous to cooperation or in a situation wherein you are living harmoniously. And in order for your class to have that cohesion, okay, basically the people is believing that in order for you to have it, you must be part of a nation. Okay? So since you are part of a nation, definitely you will be linked to them, okay? Just like what we were able to define earlier. You are linking your bloods, you are linking your relationships, you are linking all of your things or all of the concepts that is related to your ethnicity. So in order for you to have cohesion, definitely you will be needing a nation. Second, the individual members aspire to belong to a homogeneous community. So definitely class, no, meron bang tao na mag-iisip na gusto kong mapunta sa isang lugar na hindi ko na-feel na belong ako? Or papasok ba ako sa isang komunidad or sasali ba ako sa isang komunidad na sa tingin ko hindi tama yung kanilang paniniwala, yung kanilang mga kultura at kanilang nakagawian? Definitely no. No? And in that sense, all of those persons who would want to join a community, definitely they are aspiring to belong to a homogeneous community. So when you say homogeneous, meron lang iisa, no? Halos sila ay uniform, meaning lahat ng kanilang paniniwala, lahat ng kanilang pinaninindigan, they are definitely common among them. Okay? So definitely, these are the two factors why nation has been born. Okay? And in thinking about nation class, okay, this might actually fall into two categories or two classifications. So let's discuss this one by one and let's compare this to one another. So the first one would be the term ethnic nation. And if you're talking about ethnic nation, this is an entity that is united on the basis of ethnicity. You are looking not into the place, but you are looking into their relationship. You are looking into their customs, their traditions, their history. Okay? If you're talking about ethnicity, definitely that is an ethnic nation. Okay? Whereas, if we're talking about territorial nation, you are already looking, okay, into a certain territory or a certain area that is being populated more or less by a single ethnic group. Okay, so if that area is being populated, say for example, by the Ilocanos, definitely they have the territorial nation. Okay, or let me give you another example. So the Filipinos, so definitely the Filipinos would actually have the territorial nation, which is the Philippines. And in the Philippines, we are actually one. Okay? We share the common identity as the Filipino people. And in that sense, definitely we can term the Philippines as a territorial nation. Okay? So that would be for the nation. Okay, let's now go take a look into the state. So class, this definition has actually been used by Dr. Tabahen in his book. And that's actually our reference in discussing this. Okay, and he was actually my previous professor. So what I would want you to remember, okay, is the definition of the state. And this would actually be the best definition that I can offer to you. Okay, so if we're talking about the state, take note that this is a community of persons, more or less numerous, permanently occupying a definite portion of territory, having a government of their own to which the great body of inhabitants render obedience and enjoying freedom from external control. So class, I have already made the phrases, okay, on bold in which you must remember. Okay? These are actually the elements of the state in which a country must possess in order for it to be termed as a state. So let's take a look. There is a community of persons, okay, definite portion of territory, a government of their own, and then there should be a freedom from external control. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look into the elements of the state. So again, just like what I've mentioned, that definition would already tell you what are the different elements of the state. So first would be the people. The people would be referred to as the inhabitants living in the state. So definitely class, this is the most important element of the state. Again, always remember that the people will always be the most important element of the state. Why? It is simply because without these people, definitely there would be no functions for the government. There would actually be no people to be governed, and there would be no reason for us to establish such a state. Okay? Imagine a territory or a country without people. Anong mangyayari doon? So definitely, no, walang mangyayari. It's simply because walang magpapatakbo, walang patatakbuhan, or walang pamumunuan. So in that sense, state would be nonsense without the people. Again, let me repeat it. The most important element of the state would be the people. Now, is it enough that you already have a people in order for you to establish a state? Definitely no. You must also have a territory. So if we're talking about the territory, it will include not only the land. Plus, let me remind you that if we're talking about in a certain territory, this is not only your territorial domain or that portion of land that you are occupying, but it would also encompass your fluvial domains and your aerial domains. Just like what has been indicated, say for example, in the Philippine National Territory, indicated in your Article 1 of the 1987 Constitution, in which it states that the national territory comprises the Philippine archipelago, and in that sense, you are already looking into the land. But also, it also says that not only the Philippine archipelago, but with all the islands and waters, the waters would actually be your fluvial and maritime domains. Okay, and also, class, all of those domains, okay, including, so say for example, if you have the Philippine archipelago, lahat ng bahagi ng Philippine archipelago pababa at pataas, okay, and that already includes your aerial domain, which is yung sa Himpapawid, definitely that is part of your territory. Again, if we're looking into the territory, you are looking into the territorial, fluvial, and aerial domains. Okay, so that would be the territory in which your citizens or your people, okay, is inhabiting. Okay, next. The third element of the state would actually be the government. So as we were able to discuss, government would be the agency through which the will of the state is formulated, expressed, and carried out. So definitely this government of yours, class, would represent ano ba ang gusto ninyong mangyari? Ano ba ang gusto ninyong patunguhan? Ano ba yung nilalaman ng aspirations ng mga tao? Say for example, in the Philippines, the Filipino people. So definitely, it is the government, okay, which is being tasked para gawin lahat ng mga kaya nito upang maibigay sa inyo kung ano nga ba yung will of the people. Okay? So this would actually also the representation of the whole state. See, for example, if they will already be negotiating with another state. So that would be the government. So let me give you an example. During the time we're in, there would be convention, okay, as to the law of the seas. Definitely, it's the Philippine government who will represent all of the Filipino people into that convention. Okay? So in which, again, that would be the agency in which the will of the people will be formulated, expressed, and carried out. Okay? And the fourth element of the state, class, and this is actually quite controversial for some of the countries, this would be the sovereignty or soberania in Filipino. So the sovereignty would definitely be the supreme power of the state to command and enforce obedience to its will from people within its jurisdiction and to have freedom from foreign control. So class, let me give you an insight about this. There are two types of sovereignty. The first one would be the internal sovereignty, which would be the power of the state to rule within its territory. So class, remember, if you are a state, definitely your people must be rendering an obedience to your will as the sovereign. So definitely, class, if you would be the sovereign, you must have the power to rule within your territory. So let me give you an example. In the Philippine government, definitely the state Philippines would definitely be termed as a state simply because the government or the state itself actually has the power to rule. Okay? Anong mga examples nito? So simply by enforcing laws, by executing laws, by actually compelling people to follow the laws, the ordinances, and different statutes. So definitely you will see there that there is an internal sovereignty. Okay? So next would actually be external sovereignty. So the external sovereignty would actually be your freedom to carry out the activities without subjection or control by other states. So this is actually controversial in some countries. See, for example, those countries that are expressing that they are already free from other countries. So sa madaling salita, ang panlabas na soberanya, ito yung pagkakataon na kung saan hindi ka inuutusan, hindi ka dinidiktahan ng ibang bansa. Okay? Pag magdedesisyon ka, the sole basis for your decision would be the state itself. Okay? So again, that would be external sovereignty. So let's take a look into the difference between the state and nation. So the state would actually be the political concept, would be a political concept, a legal concept, whereas a nation would be an ethnic concept. A state is not subject to external control, while a nation may or may not be independent of external control. So in Filipino, kailangan daw pag sinabing state or estado, walang nangingialam sa'yo. Wala magdidikta kung ano yung kailangan mong gawin. Pero pag sinabi ang isang bansa ay nation or ang isang lugar ay nation, definitely it may or may not be independent of external control. Let me give you an example. Again, the Ilocano Nation. So in the Ilocano Nation, definitely they are still being subjected to the Philippine laws and Philippine guidelines. No, that they cannot pursue whatever they want because they would always be limited, okay, to the rules and regulations of the Philippine state. Okay, so again, a state must not be subjected to external control, while a nation may or may not be independent. Okay, and lastly, a single state may consist of one or more nations or peoples, and conversely, a single nation may be made up of several states. Okay, so let me give you an example to that. So in a single state, say for example in the Philippines, we have different nations that we might actually have. So let me give you an example: the Ilocano Nation, the Bicolano Nation, okay, the indigenous peoples, or those persons coming from different countries or the foreigners. Definitely it may the Philippines may consist of those nations and peoples. Whereas looking into the nation also, it may also be made up of several states. So let me give you, say for example, the Ilocano Nation again. So the Ilocano Nation might not only be present in the Philippines. They are actually also present in Hawaii, in England. So definitely a nation may also be made up of several states. Okay? So looking and injecting the concept of globalization. So let's go ahead and define what is a globalization. The globalization would be the process of internal integration arising from the interchange of worldviews, products, ideas, and other aspects of culture. Again, class, if we're talking about globalization, so there would be an interchange. Nagpapalitan kayo ng pananaw, ng produkto, ng ideya, at iba't iba pang aspeto ng kultura, kagaya ng pananamit, ano pa, yung mga serbisyo, no? So lahat ng mga bagay na ito kapag ipinagpalit ninyo or say for example, tinrade ninyo from one country into another, definitely there is a globalization that is happening. Okay? So again, class, if we're looking into a globalization, definitely you are looking into the transfer of capital, goods, services across all, okay? Across all of the national frontiers, be it local or international. Okay? So definitely you will have a system in which you are already thinking about the integration of different worldviews, products, and ideas. Okay? So in looking into the effects or influence of globalization, let me summarize this one. If we're talking about globalization as to the developed countries, they are actually the ones who are benefiting for this. Why? It's simply because they already established a system that will already have, okay, the capacity to control all of the necessary situations with globalization. As we all know, since we are already trading, no, nagkakaroon kasi ng challenges to different countries. And those developed countries, they were already able to establish their economy to withstand or para makayanan yung iba't ibang problema ng pagpapalitan ng produkto. And in that sense, definitely, they are taking advantage from globalization. And it's quite unfortunate, class, that on the other hand, developing countries actually has a weak structure. So comparing the developing countries to the developed countries, we actually have a weak structure. That is why we are said to be vulnerable to external economic forces. And in this sense, definitely we are actually having a hard time. And why are we having a hard time? Simply because we are actually unwilling or we do not have the ability to develop new markets. So say for example, nagkaroon ng problema, no, sa pagpapalitan ng produkto. We are actually not flexible as to our market. Hindi natin nakokontrol yung ekonomiya. So let me give you an example. So definitely, no, kapag pag naging uso ang isang bagay, halimbawa na hindi tungkol sa pagiging konserbatibo or medyo liberal kung iniisip, say for example, no, again halimbawa siya sa paniniwala ng iba't ibang relihiyon, definitely hindi tayo nakagawa agad-agad ng paraan, no, with regards to that. So definitely, class, just like what I mentioned, the influence of globalization to developing countries is actually not that good. Why? Because we do not have a strong structure that would actually have, okay, the capacity to withstand all of the problems brought up by globalization. Okay? But again, I'm not saying that it's already the end of our country as to the globalization, because every year and every term, no, different presidents, different foreign policy makers, definitely they are doing their best in order for us to develop this kind of structures. Okay? And that's why we are being termed as developing countries. So again, this would actually be our session as to the states, nations, and globalization. I would like to thank everyone for attending this session and for watching this session, and I hope to see you to our next session. Thank you and have a great day ahead.